Welcome back to the ultimate interactive game show. Today, we are looking at the exact moments in history that completely changed human civilization. We are talking about the world's most important inventions. But I am not just going to give you a boring history lesson. I am going to tell you 10 wild, bizarre, and completely accidental stories behind how these things were created. Here is the massive twist. I am not going to tell you how many of these stories are real and how many are absolute lies that I made up to trick you. Your job is to figure out what is fact and what is fiction. I will give you 5 seconds after every story to lock in your guess. Keep track of your score. Let's play. Round number 1. The microwave oven is in almost every kitchen on Earth, but it was invented completely by accident. In 1945, an engineer named Percy Spencer was working on military-grade radar technology. He was standing in front of an active radar magnetron when he suddenly noticed a strange sensation in his pants pocket. He reached in and realized that the radar waves had completely melted a peanut butter chocolate bar he was saving for lunch. Curious, he pointed the magnetron at some popcorn kernels, and they immediately popped, giving birth to the world's first microwave. Real or fake? Lock in your guess. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 time is up. Believe it or not, this messy accident is 100% real. A melted candy bar literally revolutionized modern cooking forever. Round number 2. Thomas Edison is famous for inventing the first commercially practical incandescent light bulb, but before he finally settled on using a carbonized bamboo filament, his early prototypes were incredibly dangerous. For 3 months, Edison actually used a thin thread of highly radioactive uranium inside the glass bulbs. It glowed with a terrifying, bright, neon green light, and the entire laboratory had to be shut down and scrubbed when his assistants started losing their hair from massive radiation exposure. Real or fake? Lock it in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That is completely fake. You got tricked. The truth is, Edison tried over 6,000 different plant materials, including cotton and hickory, but he absolutely never used glowing green radioactive uranium to light up a room. Round number 3. But it wasn't created to fix broken coffee mugs. During World War II, scientists at Kodak were desperately trying to invent a clear, durable plastic to make precision gun sights for Allied soldiers. One of the chemical mixtures they created was an absolute failure because it was incredibly sticky and glued everything it touched together, ruining all their lab equipment. They threw the formula in the trash for 9 years before finally realizing its true potential. Real or fake? Make your guess. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This frustrating laboratory accident is absolutely real. The world's strongest glue was originally a completely failed military experiment. Round number 4. The printing press is often considered the most important invention of the last 1,000 years because it allowed books to be mapped. But the inventor, Johannes de Gutenberg, didn't come up with the mechanical pressing motion on his own. According to his personal diary, he was eating breakfast at a local tavern and watched the cook squeeze hot batter inside a heavy iron waffle maker. Realizing that the flat, heavy pressure of the waffle iron could be used to smash ink onto paper, he rushed back to his shop and built his very first prototype based on the breakfast machine. Real or fake? Lock it in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That is completely fake. I made up the waffle iron. The truth is, Gutenberg got the inspiration for his printing press by looking at the massive, heavy wooden screw presses that local farmers were using to crush grapes to make wine. Round number 5. When the sweltering heat of summer hits, we all thank the inventor of the modern air conditioner, Wheaties Cadia. But he didn't invent the machine to keep human beings cool and comfortable. In 1902, Carrier was hired by a massive printing plant in New York. The hot, sticky humidity in the factory was causing the pages of their magazines to wrinkle, and the ink was smearing. Carrier invented the air conditioner solely to pull moisture out of the air so the paper would stay perfectly flat and dry. The fact that it cooled the room down was just a happy accident. Real or fake? Lock it in! 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This incredibly practical business decision is 100% real. Air conditioning was invented for paper, not for people. Round number 6. you would probably assume that the simple wooden matchstick was invented thousands of years before the complicated mechanical cigarette lighter. But you would be wrong. The lighter was invented first. It wasn't until 3 years later, in 1826, that a chemist named John Walker was stirring a pot of experimental explosive chemicals with a wooden stick when he pulled the stick out. The chemicals had dried into a hard clump on the end. He tried to scrape the stick clean against the stone floor of his fireplace, and the friction instantly caused the stick to burst into flames, creating the very first match. Real or fake? Lock it in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This backwards history fact is absolutely real. The complicated lighter actually predates the simple wooden matchstick. Round number 7. The Wright brothers forever changed the world when they successfully flew the first powered airplane at Kitty Hawk. But because they were poor bicycle mechanics, they couldn't afford expensive building materials. To build the wooden frame of their legendary flyer, they actually went to the local town dump and salvaged the heavy, polished mahogany wood from 3 broken, discarded grand pianos. They believed the piano wood was perfectly seasoned to withstand the extreme tension of the flight cables. Real or fake? Lock it in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That is entirely fake. I completely made up the piano wood. The truth is, the Wright brothers built their historic airplane using very lightweight, standard spruce wood that they bought straight from a local lumber yard. Round number 8. Penicillin is the world's first true antibiotic, and it has saved millions of lives. But it was discovered by pure laziness. In 1928, a scientist named Alexander Fleming was studying deadly bacteria. Before leaving for a long vacation, he completely forgot to clean his messy laboratory and accidentally left a Petri dish completely uncovered near an open window. When he finally returned weeks later, a strange, fuzzy blue mold had blown into the dish, instead of just throwing it away. He noticed that the mold was literally melting and destroying the deadly bacteria around it. Real or fake? Lock it in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This incredibly lucky, messy accident is 100% real. Fleming's failure to clean up his desk literally changed modern medicine forever. Round number 9. Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone, completely revolutionizing global communication. But the very first official phone call was a formal greeting or a test of the audio quality. Bell and his assistant, Thomas Watson, were in separate rooms. Bell accidentally knocked over a glass container of highly corrosive battery acid, spilling it all over his pants. In a total panic, he grabbed the telephone transmitter and yelled, "Mr. Watson, come here! I want to see you!" Watson heard the panicked voice through the receiver and ran into the room, marking the first successful phone call in history. Real or fake? Lock it in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This chaotic historical moment is absolutely real. The first phone call was literally just a guy screaming for help because he spilled acid on his leg. Round number 10. The final round. The internet is the most powerful communication tool ever created. In 1969, scientists at UCLA tried to send the very first digital message across a network to a computer at Stanford University. The plan was to simply type the word login. They typed the letter L, and the Stanford computer confirmed it received it. They typed the letter O, and it was received. But before they could type the letter G, the massive room-sized computers completely overloaded and the entire system violently crashed. The very first message ever sent on the internet was just the word low. Real or fake? Lock it in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This hilarious technological failure is 100% real. The most advanced communication network in human history started with a system crash after only 2 letters. All right, history buffs, put your notebooks down. Tally up your score. Did you get a perfect 10 out of 10? Or did my fake inventions completely fool you? Let me know your final score down in the comments right now. And before you go, let's see who was actually paying attention. Pop quiz time. Question 1. What sticky substance was accidentally invented during World War II? Question 2. What was the 2-letter word that became the first message sent on the internet? The first person to get both questions right down in the comments gets a pinned comment and a shout out in our next video. If you had fun playing along today, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for more mind-blowing trivia. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.